Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Ronelle. I am a stay-at-home mom raising 5 kids, and you should expect a video every Monday and Friday, and if I should have anything to say, I will pop in between. So with that said, I just felt the need to come on and explain to you guys how to raise successful kids. Before I get into the video, I want to make a quick disclaimer. I am by no means a professional. I'm not saying that I am the best parent in the world. I deserve the award for the best parent. No. This is just what has worked for me as a parent, and yeah, that's about it. And through trials and tribulations, this has really worked for me. So with that said, let's get into it. So I, as I've said before, have 5 kids, and I feel that it's our responsibility as parents to teach them right from wrong, manners, responsibility, sympathy, empathy, compassion. It is definitely up to us to do that, because me as a parent, I feel so much joy in day to day with my kids, because I'll give you an example. I have 5 kids. They have all different personalities. My oldest son is 22 years old, and we have such a relationship, and I'm sure all mothers out there know that a relationship with a mother and a son is just something, it's just so wonderful. But with that said, my son, he's 22 years old. He's actually in the United States Air Force, and he's actually out the house. He lives on his own, and we have such a relationship. Not a day goes by I do not hear from him. If a day does go by and I don't hear from him, I get worried. But then there's also nothing to worry about, because I'm also just so used to hearing from him every day. He is such a good kid. Let me rephrase this. All my kids are no angels. They by no means are angels. They are your typical kids. This is strictly through trial and error. And as I say, my oldest son, we've had our issues. Not to say they were bad issues, they were just like your normal growing up issues. And it's come to a point now where everything that he goes through or whatever's going on, he runs it by me. We have that, if he has an issue with something, he'll call me and we'll discuss it. If he takes my advice, all well and good. If he doesn't, too bad. But that's just the relationship we have. He grew up into such a fine gentleman. And there's nothing more rewarding than for a stranger to tell you how well mannered your child is, or your child is such a gentleman, or is so hardworking. It makes a parent feel so good. And I also say this in regard to, let me give you an example. My younger son, Noel Jr., he is 11 years old. 2 weeks ago we went and we sold some coupon books for the robotics team, and we went door to door, and 2 people came out of their house, and both gentlemen, and they approached me and they were like, you know what, I've never come across such a well-mannered boy. Everything that he spoke about, his ending was yes sir, no sir. They were so blown away by him, and that for me as a parent makes me feel so good, knowing that I'm doing something right. And or either picking your kid up from the carpool line. My 9-year-old daughter's teacher, she came to the window and she's like, Abigail is my favorite student. She is just so well mannered. She's just such a sweet kid, and it makes a parent feel so good. So at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to teach our kids right from wrong. And this is what also plays, where bullying plays a huge part. My kids, all of them have gone through the bully stage at school. And I always try to instill in my kids that all those kids that want to come and bully you, they have an issue with themselves. They are not happy with themselves. They have issues maybe that's bothering them or they don't feel comfortable in themselves. And all this stems from home. I was watching Laura Lee, and they were talking about how she adopted her 15-year-old niece, which really touched my heart, because as a young couple, to adopt a teenager, it can't be easy. I have raised 5 kids. I'm raising 5 kids, aging from 22 to 9 years old. It's no easy task. And for this couple to have set everything else aside and adopted her niece, it just warmed my heart. And the best thing that I heard coming out of Tyler's mouth is that he said, whatever you teach your children in the home will reflect on the outside, which you guys are so true. I teach my kids that you treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And if you don't get that, it's not on you, it's on them. So at the end of the day, how you want to be treated, always treat the next person. Yes, you're going to be get a negative effect from somebody at some point, but that's not on you. You can sleep comfortable at night. And whereas when it comes to school and teachers, I by no means have or will ever stand for any of my kids disrespecting their teachers. Never will that happen. If it does happen, they know that they're gonna have a huge problem with me. And I've told my kids' teachers from the time they're in school, right up until my last one will graduate, that they have full authority to reprimand my kids, because what happens at school should be taken care of there. Nobody else has permission to reprimand my kids but their teachers, because for number one, our teachers are underpaid. Again, I'll say it, they do it for the love of the job and not for the paycheck, because we all know teachers are so underpaid. I make it my due every single year that when it comes to the end of the year, all my kids' teachers are getting a fantastic gift, meaning that it is a huge gift. And not to say it's because at the end of the day, it's because they are underpaid and they are so underappreciated. When my kids come home and tell me how maybe one of the other kids disrespected a teacher, it makes me mad to think that who has the right to come to school and disrespect a teacher. Growing up, I grew up in South Africa, as you guys know by now. If we disrespected our teacher, corporal punishment was in place. Absolutely was in place. But yeah, it's like, you're not gonna do that. If you're my child, you're not gonna do that. But at the end of the day, it's all up to us as parents to teach our kids right from wrong. I don't care if you're having a bad day. You're not going to go to school and you're not going to take it out on the teacher. If you are not getting it and you're getting frustrated, swallow your pride, swallow whatever. If you feel like, oh, you're going to be called out because you don't understand something, they're going to make fun of you, so be it. At the end of the day, as long as you're doing what you need, don't think what the next person thinks. And that's what I always try to instill in my kids, is that it's us as parents to tell our kids, to make them more confident in themselves. I say this to my kids all the time. Not maybe a day goes by that I will not tell my girls how beautiful they are. Or even my sons. I call my husband handsome. And my older son and I have a running joke, and when he was growing up, I used to always call him handsome. So when he moved out the house, he used to always say to me, Mom, how does it feel to have a handsome son? And the reply I used to give him was hilarious. I want to be a family channel, I can't repeat my answer. But with that said, it's just so important for us to be involved in our kids' lives. I can't sit here and judge any parent. That I'm not gonna do. I'm telling you what works for me as a stay-at-home mother. A lot of people feel, oh, you're a stay-at-home mother, you have a good life. You guys, it is stressful. It is so stressful, especially the days in which we live. I stress from the time I send my kids off to school. You know, it's like, is anything gonna happen? One thing I can tell you, I pray for my kids, I pray for my husband, I pray for my family every single day. Not a day goes by that as soon as my kids walk out the door, I'm saying a prayer for them. Because at the end of the day, they are our responsibility. We got to answer for them. Don't wait until it's too late and they're too far gone, and then you're gonna sit back and wonder, but why? You know, I would hate for somebody to come up to me and tell me, oh, but your daughter's this way and your daughter's that way. I don't want to hear that. I mean, as again I say, my kids are no angels. If you have a problem with my child, I'll appreciate it if you come and you tell me. Whether you a classmate of theirs or whether you're just a stranger that I don't feel you should even have an issue. But as I say, it's just be there for them. Have that open line of communication. The best time for me with my kids is on the ride home from school. You get so much out of them. Well, in my case, it's like everybody all want to talk at the same time, which I always and constantly got to remind them, we can all sing at once, but we cannot talk at once. And then they'll give me, but one thing that drives me nuts with my kids is the mere fact that they'll wait until the day of, or they'll wait until it's last minute if they need something, maybe for a project or they need a book. Thank God for Amazon. Amazon saves everybody's lives at this point. And I may be all over the place, but like I say, it's our responsibility to be there for our kids, teach them right from wrong. I can't stop emphasizing that. If I have to maybe just go out and I hear my child disrespecting their elders, or it's not going to end good. It's really not going to end good. Yes, at home they'll try my patience. They'll take it to the furthest, but then they'll know when to stop. And I don't have an issue with reprimanding my kids. At the end of the day, you do what is expected of you. I get judged a lot by friends and family that I don't give my kids chores. I don't let them clean their rooms when they need to clean their rooms. Hold on. I'm a stay-at-home mother, okay? This is the way I live my life. All I expect from my kids is to get good grades. Be respectful, be a good person. I am staying at home. I am responsible for the home. When my kids come from school, they have their dinner cooked. All of them, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, all of them have this habit of coming home every day and taking a nap. I kid you not. You can ask anybody that knows us. My kids will come home every day and they'll take a nap for at least 2 hours. They'll get up, they'll freshen up, they'll do their homework, they'll have a snack, they'll play on their devices for about an hour, and then it's back to bed. You've got to have a system for them. And at the end of the day, you've got to know, they have to know their boundaries. They got to know their boundaries. They also have to know that an education is everything. Nobody can ever take that away from you. I've said this in a video prior to this, and education is the most important thing ever. My son that's in the Air Force at 22 years old, he is still studying further, you know. And there comes a time where I call him and he's like, Mom, I'll call you back. I'm busy studying, or I'm doing homework, or I'm doing something. They've got to know that an education is something that nobody can take away from them. I have this relationship with my kids' friends. They know I'm just like a motherly figure to anybody. If I could, I would take in any kid and every kid. I just have that passion for children and to want them to succeed in life. Who doesn't want to succeed in life? This, again, as I say to you guys, this is what works for me. My kids, for a very long time, they knew that a B was a bad grade. They thought that B stood for bad. If they came home with a B, they would be so sad. they would really, really be so sad. And until I think it was maybe it's been a few months now, I let them know that, you know what, a B is a good grade. It's a good grade, but you can get an A. You got to instill in your kids that they are capable of much more than they're letting on to be. All my children are more academic than physical. I think, yes, only my 9-year-old, she is very, very athletic. She was in gymnastics, she got bored. The reason she got bored was because she was so advanced in gymnastics. She knew so much that she didn't understand that you had to go through the steps to get to the next level, and that frustrated her, so she just left. She didn't want to do it. And I will never push my children to do anything they don't want to do. I will give them free rein on what they want to do, but not just anything, what makes them comfortable. Because I've seen a lot throughout this time, and when you push a kid, it doesn't do much justice for them in the end. They start to resent it. And now she's actually in track at school, and she absolutely loves it. And she's asthmatic, and it actually seems to help her with the asthma. And my other two kids, the two middle ones, Noelle, that's 11, and Kaylin, that's 13, she'll be 14, they are so into engineering at this point. They're on their robotics team at school, and they really give their all. Just the other day, Kaylin was on the local news, and we were made aware of it, and she's like, Mom, are you really going to send that to everybody? And I'm like, oh, hell yes, I'm going to send it to everybody, because I'm proud of you. You know, it's a big accomplishment. And she is so humble that she's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, hell no, I'm a proud parent. I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to, like, judge anybody else for what they're doing. I'm going to do what's worked for me, how I see makes my kids succeed. They have their freedom, but not to a point where, okay, at 13 years old, you're going to be going out with your friends coming home 11 o'clock at night. No. I'm talking about freedom as in Kaylin, that's 13 years old, she's on social media. She's been on social media for a good year now, and we've been monitoring it, and we can't trust her. When it comes to the 11-year-old and the 9-year-old, no. You're not going to have Instagram. My 9-year-old or my 11-year-old doesn't have a phone, and I don't think they need a phone at this point. And also, what has made me really proud is the fact that they have so much compassion. And I'll give you an example. My 9-year-old son at the time, this was 2 years ago, and as I said, I buy gifts for all their teachers when it comes to year end. So the one day he came home and he says, Mom, you know, everybody buys gifts for their teachers, but nobody buys a gift for the receptionist at the front office. I'm like, oh, okay, son. He says, can you please buy something for her? Now, how can you tell a kid no? You're not gonna, you know, that compassion that shines through like that, for him to think about her was like, wow, you know, it really stood out. So I did that, and I gave it to him, and he took it to her. And the next day I got a phone call, and she was so blown away. She was truly, truly blown away. And from there on, he was always the type of kid, always took note of if anybody doesn't have. I would give him, on a Wednesday, they would have ice cream day at school. And every Wednesday I'd give him and his sister $1 for their ice cream. And I'm like, son, did you have ice cream? So he says, no, Mom, so-and-so didn't have money, so I opted not to have, and I gave it to him, or I gave it to her. You know, that just really warms my heart. And I thought, okay, following that, I started giving him $2 a week, you know, for him and whoever else didn't have. The trend kept on going. There was always somebody else that didn't have, and he always ended up with none. But he always said, no, I'd rather not have and let somebody else have. So all of them really have that compassion. I can go on and on with stories about just how compassionate my kids are. And again, it takes a lot and this goes for all parents. It's so easy to say, but it's hard to do. One thing we got to do is learn how to manage our time. I can't speak for working parents. I can't even fathom how they do it. Because me being a stay-at-home mom, which I have time to plan and do, if something comes up, I can just do it. Whereas if you're a working mom or a working dad, how do you now take off work? And that's why I always say, I will always, if I see somebody in need, I will always offer. Or if somebody knows that I'm around and I can do it, feel free to call me and I will do it. I will help. That is also what I have with my kids at school. Abigail has this wonderful friend and I became close with her mom. If I can't go to a field trip, I'll always call her up and say, can you please do me a favor, watch out for Abigail on this field trip, because I cannot go because maybe I have prior engagements with my other kids. And you guys, you know it's a lot. I've got one in each school. I've got one in high school, I got two in middle school, I got one in elementary school. There's always things that are going on. Without a doubt, there's always something going on. Especially this time of year when my kids have robotics and next week they're gearing up for game day. It's been a lot. It has been a hell of a lot. That's why I say you got to manage your time. You have to. Me myself, I get up at 4 o'clock latest. I like to be up at 3:30 just so I can have that hour time for myself, you know, just to get myself ready for the day. I'm sitting here, you guys, and I'm on my 8th cup of coffee. I live off of coffee. I can't stay without coffee. And it's just, you've got to manage your time. I've come to a time in my life where I can whip something up for them. If I don't cook by 10:30 in the morning, there's no way I'm gonna find time the rest of the day to cook. It's either you're gonna have pizza or you're gonna have takeout, which I try not to do. So I've learned to whip things up within 10 minutes. If I have somebody over or something has unexpected come up and they'll say to me, oh, okay, let's order something to eat. I'm like, no, hold on. I can whip something up within half an hour if I have guests and have it on the table within half an hour. It's just become something that I've gone so used of doing. All my kids have different taste buds, let's put it that way. So one thing I have done is every Friday when I do my groceries, I'll sit down with them and I'll give them all a choice what to have Monday through to Friday. Then Friday, I try not to make it a cook day. So everybody looks over the menu. If anybody doesn't like whatever they got on that day, they'll compromise. So that's what I do. So I'm not getting picky eaters. Oh, I don't eat this, and I'm not a short order cook. I'm not cooking 2 different dishes. Those days are gone. Before my son left home, I used to love cooking because he just absolutely loved everything that I cooked. He could sit and eat the whole pot. Nobody would say anything, or it used to just be done. And I used to cook a lot of curry at the time, and now with these kids, it's like all different stuff. It's too much. But yeah, as I say, that's one thing I do. I try to manage my time. I get up, as I say, 4 o'clock latest, start waking kids up at 5 o'clock, giving them breakfast, heading them out the door. By the time it comes to 7:30, the last one is heading out the door. By the time she's gone, I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, and then by 10:30 I gotta be out the house to pick up the next one because she has co-op. She finishes school at 10:40. So once I pick her up from school, that's my time to either, like tomorrow, I gotta take my truck in because some wonderful person decided to scrape it, so I gotta take it into the body shop and they are gonna fix it. And so it's gonna be a bit of an inconvenience, but you know what, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm not telling anybody how to raise their kids. This is what has worked for me. It's not easy. There's no book to just buy and tells you like how to raise your kids or how to raise good kids or successful kids. This is personally just what has worked for me. They know their boundaries, they know what's expected of them, they know how to treat other people, and they know that if they do wrong, there are consequences to their bad actions. So with that said, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, and I can't be responsible for anybody else's kids but my own. And this is what has worked for me to date. I know I still have a longer road. I've got one that's heading out of school in the next year, and she still hasn't made up her mind what she wants to do. And I still got 3 more to follow after that. So it's a long road ahead. I love what I do. I love being a mom. My kids are everything, and they will always be my life. And thank you guys so much for watching. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload a video. And I appreciate you guys so much for your time, and I hope this was a bit knowledgeable for you guys. And if there's anything I can help you with, please feel free, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.